What's up, guys? I'm Matt Harris, and this is episode 7 of The Harris Effect, and this is titled Censorship, the True Threat to American Freedom. And today I want to talk about a major news story that broke out this week about a presidential candidate, and it was exposing some potential national security issues and some blatant conflicts of interest. Now, is this story true? I don't know. Could be. Maybe it's not. But that's really not the point I want to make in today's video. The point is that as Americans, we have the right to access important information about the presidential candidates that are fighting for our vote right now. So if you look at China, censorship happens very frequently. In fact, in the vice presidential debate, every single time Mike Pence would mention or talk about China, they would cut the feed to their citizens. They did not want to allow their citizens the luxury of being able to hear what Mike Pence was saying about China, which wasn't very good. So they don't want their citizens to be questioning the narrative of the Chinese government, which is kind of interesting because that's what we're starting to see here in America right now. So this article that I'm talking about, it was shared on social media. It was written by the New York Post. And immediately Facebook came to their rescue. So Facebook immediately claimed that they needed their independent fact checkers, in quotes, to verify this story. And until that happened, they would limit the distribution. And they would limit the distribution basically to 0. So this is very, very troubling. So first, they never did this. They never did the same thing for the Russiagate conspiracy theory that was completely unverified. Facebook didn't touch it at all. They just let it run. So I find that very interesting. So what's different? Do they have an affiliation to a certain political candidate? I don't know. Maybe. So that's something that I find very interesting. But here's a real question I want to ask about Facebook and about these big tech giants. But what makes Facebook competent and trustworthy enough to have a complete monopoly on deciding what is and isn't a fact? I want you to think about that. The next agency that jumped to the rescue was Twitter. They're no different than Facebook, really. They immediately blocked the link to this story. They prevented it from being shared, and they also went to the New York Post's Twitter account and they blocked it. They would not allow them to even access their account. So pretty crazy censorship. They claimed that their policies prevented the sharing of information that was hacked. But they had 0 evidence that this material was in fact hacked. So very interesting again. And I find another thing I find very ironic is that they had no trouble allowing the mass circulation of the New York Times article about Donald Trump's taxes, which was, quote, obtained without authorization. So what's different? What's different about these two? So are you starting to see some conflicts of interest? Because I certainly am, and it's blatant. Like, it used to be subtle. Now they don't even hide it. They just do it because they don't care. They're just like, whatever, we have so much power that there's nothing you can do about it. So it's something I think we need to really stand up about. There's also an incident that I saw personally. I read several articles that I had Googled about basically refuting the New York Times claims about Donald Trump's taxes and some of the misinformation that was in there and some of the misleading information. Those articles that I shared were actually blocked, and a lot of them were actually rerouted to different articles, which I found pretty amazing, and it happened very, very quickly. So it's very scary at how much information can be controlled, suppressed, and redirected in a certain route. So I kind of want to talk about, though, what does all of this mean, right? I think aside from the fact that these tech giants have the capacity to control almost all information being distilled right now, they have clear political affiliations and are actively interfering in an election. More importantly, they're preventing Americans from making informed decisions about this election and about other things as well. So our First Amendment protects our free speech. It allows us to say things that some people might not like, and I tend to do it a lot. So I think it's very important, though. on both sides. I think it's important for me to be able to say it. I think it's important for people to be able to disagree with me. And I think it's important to be able to do that in an open forum so that other people can learn and join in the discussion, provide arguments, counter arguments. I mean, that is very, very important to our freedom. So it's really something that, I think it's very important. It's crucial to our freedom that we're just simply able to have these conversations and discussions and even disagreements. And it's just, like I said, it's precisely how we are able to make informed decisions. As soon as information, though, like as soon as these tech giants jump in and start controlling information at this level, we're not even able to have these conversations. We're only operating off of a fraction of the information that we should have access to, especially in an election year. So I just want to leave you with a couple of questions that I'd like you to think about, things that I've been thinking about a lot lately. But first one, why would these tech giants be so quick to collude together to stop the spread of information that could be damaging to one presidential candidate, but not do the same for another? Something to think about. Second question, do you think it's important that you have access to all available information on both sides to make informed decisions about who you'll be able to vote for or who you will vote for? I do. Lastly, do you think it's Facebook, Twitter, or even Google's responsibility to ensure that you see only the information that they want you to see? Like I said earlier, what gives these tech giants the competency or trustworthiness to be tasked with determining what is and isn't a fact of every single news article published? That's another thing I'd like you to think about. So yeah, I don't want to go too deep into the article itself because I don't know if it's true or not, but I think the point I really wanted to make in this video is that it's important that we have access to information and that it's not being suppressed and that it's not completely one-sided, which it's blatantly obvious that it is right now. And I don't know how you could argue otherwise. But it's clearly biased. It's clearly in support of one candidate over another, and it's ridiculous, and it's infuriating, because I think as Americans we need access to this information. We need to know both sides. We need to eliminate this censorship. We need to make sure we have access to all of the information so we can make informed decisions and have discussions and debates and not have them suppressed and censored. So I'll leave you guys with that. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. Definitely like the channel, comment if you have additional thoughts, or if you agree or disagree, I don't care. Let's have a discussion in the comments. I'd love to hear what everybody else thinks about this topic. I know it's kind of all over the place right now, but I would love everyone else's input. So feel free to drop a comment, share this if you like it, subscribe if you like me, don't subscribe if you don't. That's okay. My feelings won't be hurt. But yeah, wish you guys the best.